Peace and welcome into the latest episode of Men of a Certain Age, The Soup. As always, Les, I got my man Panero back in the building with us. And as always, we got DL with us, man. Peace to the gods, man. How you?
I can't call it, man. Good week this week. Very good week, actually. But I'm ending off the summer the right way. I went to a rave on Friday night, which was yeah, it was pretty dope, man, watching the way young people party. And I love house music, so it's a house music weekend. And actually, I'm going to dip out here a little bit early today because we got the 20th annual House in the Park popping off in Piedmont Park. So
nice.
I got to go hit that off, man. I'm a house music head, so I'm looking forward to that.
Shout out to Piedmont Park, man. You know what I mean? Panero, man, it's good to have you back in the building, man. Blessings, yo. How are you?
Sir, peace. I want to send a special rest in paradise shout out to my mother-in-law, Christine Swans. Rest in peace. Love, honor, and respect you. Yo, Don, let me find out you was trying to sneak in Little Harlem as a child so you can get your house dance on, yo.
I was in there. I was in there at 19. I was in there. Believe me.
I know you was in there with an Ohio license.
I had a hookup.
Cornelius. You know what I mean?
Ball Ricks hooked me up.
Yeah,
no doubt. Shout out to Little Harlem, man. Also, man, we want to send a rest in peace to Fat Man Scoop, man. Rest in peace to Fat Man Scoop. Passed away yesterday, man. Man, we gotta all do a better job of taking care of ourselves, man. All of us.
He's 53 years old.
Yeah, man. He's a man of a certain age. Time, man. Rest in peace to Fat Man Scoop. Condolences to his family and friends, man. Everybody in the hip hop nation. Yes, you know what I mean? But yeah, we're gonna keep it moving on this episode of The Soup, man. We got a lot of things to talk about this week, man. Lord, come across my timeline, man. Lately, it's been a lot of black men not really. How can I say it without being disrespectful? Without falling in line, should I say. They got a lot of things to say with regards to black women and also VP Kamala Harris, you know what I mean? So we want to visit that one time. Also, man, during this election season, man, can you believe it? It's September 1st. It's first Sunday. So these days is blowing by, man, and the election is going to be on top of us before we know it. And also, with that being said, man, we got Cornel West being added on ballots in Georgia and Wisconsin. We want to talk about that a little bit as well. And also, man, in the hood news, we got your man Black Ty, also known as Tyrese, who's got something to say to the black community about how we out here living. So definitely gonna add that to the soup. What we gonna give him, a celery? He's a piece of celery to the soup or some shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jody?
Mom. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, man, that cat.
About Jody.
Yeah, that guy. And also,
black
man,
olive to the soup. Something, man.
Black olive. That's real shit right there, no doubt. So we also got Don's favorite. You know what I mean? We might have to turn it into turtle soup with your man Charlamagne Tha God. He's made an appearance again in the soup this week, man. He's screaming at Plies for also some election type stuff. So I want to visit that as well, man. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do this week on this episode of The Soup, man. Last week we talked about and we showed a clip of Black America, women and men, and some of their thoughts on Kamala Harris. So we're going to take a look at the other side a little bit and look at the mega side, but we're going to look at the white side of the mega side this time around. But let me introduce this first video to y'all boys, man, and then we're going to react to it real quick.
No doubt.
The first one I want to jump off into, Lords, this is it's Charles Coleman from MSNBC. He sat down with a group of 4 black men concerning VP Harris and this upcoming election. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that one real quick.
One of the things that I learned was there is a sense of pressure from some people to just get on the bandwagon regardless of what she's talking about because of the fact that she is a black woman. And I thought that was a very interesting dynamic. So let's listen to this thought and where I get some information from one of the people I'm talking to.
How much pressure, if any, do you feel to make the commitment and engage the conversation or the support for Kamala Harris from community before you've heard anything in terms of what her platform is?
Rather significantly. Being an HBCU alum and D9 member, we've already seen that push and that call for all of us to rally behind her. She already had my vote. based on, and we had this conversation earlier in the year, the Biden administration actually campaigned on forgiving student loans, and they forgave my wives. That was a direct benefit for me. So they had my vote solidified on that. But I do feel like the symbolism of the moment does urge us a little bit more, even without hearing the platform, to be behind it.
It's double for me personally because it's like you're almost a villain if you have a question, right? It's almost like you're anti something because you question something. And politically, because it's such a finite timetable of when you have to make a decision, it doesn't leave room to have a real in-depth conversation. You're almost put in a place where you have to just say, come on, let's go. And it's come on, let's go with what, right? And then when you're halfway down the road and you feel like, wait a minute, I shouldn't be part of this bandwagon. Are you anti because you want to back off now? Or, dude, let me out the car. You know what I'm saying? How you look at now, you know what I mean? So it's rough.
That's a Boys and Hoods reference for people who didn't catch it. There are a lot of people who are skeptical about the following question, and I want a yes or no from each of you. Do you think she can win?
Yes. I think it's going to be difficult. I wanted to, but I don't think so.
I think she can win. It depends on the strategy her campaign manager takes. I think she can win, but I think we got to get the young people involved. We got to get the young people's vote. And how do you engage those people? How do they strategize to get that vote from them?
I think she's going to win. I think she can win, but I think she's a more compelling candidate than Donald Trump is. So I think she can win.
So like for me, right, here's why I say I don't think so. We've seen in the realm of American politics since 2016 till now has been because we had a black man in office. So he won 2 consecutive terms, and as Kurt said earlier, when we were having a conversation, and we paid 3 times much hell since then. Now to up the ante with a black woman in office, I just think it's going to be hard. So I hope I'm wrong.
So let me ask my fellas, my boys, quickly as we continue on. When we look at the race, and people come out and say that she's not giving us nothing, she's not telling us anything, she's not sitting down with the press by herself. When you hear that, what do you want to hear from Vice President Harris and Tim Walz? Well, not so much Walz, but VP Harris now. What do you want to hear from them?
I think that I've heard what I wanted to hear. I heard the fact that she understands how much of a danger 45 is, and that she's putting that to the forefront. The common misconception among a lot of people is this. Goes back to an old adage. It goes back to, if you repeat a lie long enough, eventually becomes what? The truth to some people, right? So they repeated this thing about things are bad, America is this, American carnage, just to generalize it. So much so that people are actually looking around and saying things are bad because they're watching news. The algorithm caters to those thoughts. They're seeing things on their social media that the algorithm knows, incites them or keeps them engaged. So consequently, people have a conception in their bubbles that life is bad. But honestly, if you look at the overall state of the country, life is better than when 45 was around. That's my number one reason, because of the fact that she understands how much of a threat he is. But number 2 is because of the fact that things generally are better. I can't complain. My mortgage is higher, but other than that, and that's based upon a financial decision that I made. Groceries are higher. That's based upon the debt that we incurred when Trump was around.
Right.
Gas can always be manipulated one way or another because you see how low it is right now. People don't understand. You have to really understand basic economics and civics. And if you understand those 2 things combined, along with history, it should be an easy choice to vote for Vice President Harris.
So let me throw that same question to you, Lord. Again, they're saying that VP Harris, he's not doing enough to reach out to black men, which I think is bullshit. But again, that's the narrative that's being thrown out here. What do you want to hear from VP Harris?
The thing about it is, anyone who says that she doesn't have any policies, she did mention policies regarding the middle class when it comes to housing. Even she mentioned policy when it comes to tipped employees. She's mentioned things. Anyone who says that she hasn't is just purposely being contrarian because they don't want her in office. And Don brought up with civics, I don't think people understand the checks and balances. Like, it's either democracy or dictatorship. And with her, it's democracy. So it's like Trump has the Supreme Court already in his favor. And I don't think people realize that's the judicial branch of government. Now, there was a point in time where Trump said, you're not going to have to vote again, just get me in. He can write an executive order saying voting is unconstitutional. And what is the Supreme Court is on his side with that. This is dangerous. All of this, you know, people who are not with her because they don't know this, that, and the third. You're saying you're not with democracy. So you better get on board, man. It's not like we're blindly following her because she's a Black woman. Mm-hmm. This is our country that's in jeopardy right now.
Great point. Great point.
And that's an excellent argument. When people get up there and say, you voting for this person just because they're Black. That couldn't be further from the truth, because when Herman Cain was doing his thing
exactly
on the Republican side, Black people wasn't flocking over there on that side just because he was Black. But right. if her policies or her history showed her to be other than what she's been portraying, a lot of people wouldn't be riding with her. It's ridiculous just to think that just because she's Black, and then for some people, you know, she's not Black. What I want to do is this, man. I want to play this clip again from the MSNBC on Kamala Harris, and this time this has to do with biracial people. Oh, you know what I mean? We all have blended families. You know what I'm saying? So
every last one.
That's America. So let's be straight up about it.
I want to ask you about is what he said.
To that real quick. And this is from the interview the other night.
Last month, he suggested that you happened to turn Black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
Any
same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
Vice President Kamala Harris, in her first TV interview since becoming the Democratic nominee, quickly brushing off.
Before we go, should she had addressed it, or was she right to say, man, that's some bullshit, I ain't even sweating that?
I agree with the way she handled it, man. I think that, come on, she's Black. I told you my theory about Black people. Once you turn that corner and people see you, they determine what color you are. She's Black.
What about you, Lord? What you say? You think she should have addressed it, or she was right to just say, man, fuck out of here?
She took the high road, man. She know what she is. She know what she had to go through in her life as a Black woman. So why even answer the question? Just
Thank
horrible.
you.
People's perceptions politically can still be pretty narrow. Take a look.
I identify as Indian American and white.
Hispanic, Asian.
They're the face of a changing nation.
When anybody asks, I just say I'm Black and Puerto Rican.
All my grandparents are from a different ethnic background.
Multiracial Americans are now the fastest growing racial or ethnic group in the country over the last decade. And their voting power will be significant. In 6 battleground states, the population with 2 or more races has surged by more than 200%, including here in North Carolina's Mecklenburg County.
Can you raise your hand if you are a Republican, Democrat, Independent? Does the way that you identify racially impact your politics, or specifically how you plan to vote this election?
Absolutely. I'm not going to lend my support behind someone who does not support people who look like me.
I don't think he sees me as who I am.
Former President Donald Trump.
Yes.
And what about the rest of you?
I just don't think that Kamala Harris has anything vested in the air finger quote Black or Hispanic experience in so much as it would be identified by anybody that lives in those communities.
You're saying you don't think it can help Black or brown people?
No, I mean, going to Howard don't make you Black.
A conversation that turned to this moment in a July interview at the National Association of Black Journalists.
I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
What did you think when you heard those comments?
Highly offensive. I think probably every multiracial, mixed race, biracial person has had the experience of someone else telling them that they are not something enough. I think it's triggering, right?
I think it is impossible to be biracial in America. And I think that it requires that you're covering all bases at all times. And it requires constant recognition of both identities. And I think when Donald Trump says stuff like that about Kamala Harris and implies that she's like picking a race for political advantage, it's tapping into an incredibly familiar sentiment that I think everyone on this panel can understand.
Marie and Abdul, as Trump supporters, when you heard that comment, as mixed people, how did it register with you?
My first thought was, oh, that wasn't very well thought out. At the same time, though, when I heard it, I didn't hear it as an attack on Blacks or Indians. I heard it more so of him commenting towards identity politics and the appeal that some take to play up one side of their race over the other.
Abdul, I see you nodding your head.
I agreed with him. I didn't know she identified as Black because everything I saw was first South Asian, first Indian. There's none of that identified as Black.
Regardless of her parents, she was born in this country and she identifies as a Black person in this country in an American way, in a uniquely American
I've never heard
context.
her identify herself as a Black woman.
She said multiple times she's a Black woman.
I've never heard it.
But I'm Black.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of being Black.
So, again, this dude who said he's Black and Puerto Rican, I'm sure he identifies as, you know, you could just tell how hard he was going and how disrespectful he was. It's
I mean, historically, though, fam, what is a Puerto Rican anyway?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just a different island. We are Black. You know what I mean? So what is he trying to say? If he gets pulled over by the Kenmore police or whatever, they're gonna say, "Wait a minute, you have Puerto Rican, so we ain't gonna give you half the ticket." Come on, man. Don said when they see you around, when you pull around that corner, they see Black. They don't see Black half Cuban, Black half Puerto Rican. Man, you Black, man. Relax.
You better realize it in America and other countries throughout the world. Don't play that. I've heard some very crazy things about Argentina within the last month or two. You know,
Don't sleep. How they got rid of all the Black people? They put you found that out? How they got rid of all them?
Just a whole bunch of stuff about how racist they are with theirs overseas and different things of that nature, man. But again, as we continue on towards the election and this information out here and people, what's the alternative? How can you sit up there and think that Trump is a good alternative? How do they not forget what was going on while he was president? Thinking that, and you thinking the second time around is going to be greater? I found out some stuff today, man, some interesting stuff about Ice Cube done popped out again.
There we go.
And started yakking. I found out that he entwined business-wise with your man, Steve Bannon. Come to find out. You know what I mean? These dudes get out here on these platforms, and that's what's leading me to the next thing is Black Tyrese. I don't understand when these celebrities get smart and thinking they want to start talking about things and talking about how people are. Just because they got some crazy stuff going on in their lives, they think they has the right for them to come out and just start spewing and start pointing their finger from their castle down at folks on this and that. Did y'all catch Tyrese at all or his comments about how we're fragmented as a people?
Nah, I don't fuck with Tyrese, so I ain't give it to him. I ain't give him enough. He ran across my algorithm with a club shade, but I ain't fuck with him.
Like I said, my TL man brings a whole lot of stuff on my TL, and he pop up on my TL talking, and he up in the joint with the Bruce Lee suit on, with the Wade slippers or whatever. But yeah, let me pull this Tyrese up. I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but let me pull this Tyrese up real quick.
That physically on Earth, there's more Black people than the overall Jewish community. Yes or no? Talking about if you were born and raised Jewish, are there more physical people a part of the Jewish community than the overall Black community in numbers?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I would probably say there's probably more Black when you look at the continent of Africa.
Yeah, the whole world.
Yeah. I would say yes.
Yes. See, they got their shit together.
Oh,
community, working with each other, doing dinners every Friday, putting the phone down and discussing the chess moves in the play. See, us as Black people, we're fragmented. You can't do nothing fragmented. Can't do nothing jealous and envious. Now, this is not going to go viral because I got a Jewish.
That belongs to us solely, only as a people.
Yes, that's us. Yeah.
Just jealousy and envy only resides in us.
Right.
Daughter. So relax. Latinos, the Latin community, they don't move as a fragmented race and culture. That's why they own everything. That's why they're buying up all of the businesses. The Asian community, they don't move as a fragmented culture. That's why they buying up everything. Now, white people got that same blueprint. And yet, this is what's scary, boys and girls. We are the most powerful, influential race, period. Not by net worth, not by politics, culture. You know how many things has been done to us to beat the shit out of this smile, and I'm still smiling. The resilience of Black culture after every attempt to kill and literally get rid of us, wipe us off the face of the fucking earth, and we still smiling, still in the videos dancing, still influencing what they're wearing, what they're doing, what the direction that they're deciding to move in. We're not watching them the way they watching us, but they got their shit together, so they always gonna win.
So I'm gonna come to you on the handoff first, UH, as always, to set it off. I'm gonna let you set it off. But he made sense in what he said, but at the same time, it was not nuanced at all. But Don, what's your thoughts on Black Guy?
First of all, I've always been a Pepsi guy. I'm from New York. Pepsi is from New York. That fool could have stayed on the bus and never got his Coke, for all I'm concerned. But like I said, it goes back into our original conversation as far as making people overvaluing themselves and inserting themselves in certain conversations, right? I can dig it. I completely understand the points that he made. However, number one, I don't think it's a good idea for Black people ever to get in public, especially if you're an influential figure, to disrespect Black people as a whole. I'm never going to be with that. I'm never going to be with anybody getting on TV and saying anything about Black America to the mass of America. Now, I'm not saying we don't have our problems and we don't have our issues and things that we need to work through, but those things are in-house. That's why there's Black Twitter, or that's where there's Black culture, or that's why there's certain clubs and organizations that are primarily Black, because there's certain things that we should hold close to the chest. For someone who isn't in those particular arenas other than entertainment, to get out there and to put our business in the streets or to vilify us to a certain extent, I find concerning. However, I do agree with the point that we need to have solid traditions. You know what I mean? We need to have our own unique traditions. We do, but they're not as pronounced because, for example, Saturday night, the majority of Black people are doing what? They're going out, they're getting fresh, they're spending time we're doing Black shit, you know what I'm saying? But Sunday mornings, in every Black community I've ever been in, and I do it I can't say every Sunday, but I do at least once a month. The most peaceful time in any Black community is Sunday morning. You drive through it, it's the most peaceful thing in the entire world because it's people who have rested for the work that they have done for the week. And you see the results of it. Sometimes it's good. You just feel the peace and the calm. And sometimes you see the bottles or the crash cars or whatever, no matter where you're at. But that is something that is unique to us, that is just not defined. There are traditions and cultures within our community that aren't uniquely defined, like the Saturday dinner that he pointed to, but are just nuances within us that don't get enough credit. and shouldn't be looked down upon because they're not as pronounced.
What you think about what Tyrese had to say, Lord?
I don't know. It's everything he said. If he just took black out of it, applies to every other culture and race. So for him to get on, I think he's having some personal issues, and he's deflecting. Just because you're going through what you're going through in your life doesn't mean that you have to get on a certain platform and be disrespectful to black people. And I don't know, it's difficult to sit and listen to stuff like that. But then when he has certain points about us not coming together, it seems all negative, and he's giving the green light for other cultures to be disrespectful to us. That's my whole thing. Like, when you get on and you say things about your own, that gives the opportunity for others to be like, see, even he says it, and he's black. So I can't stand that shit.
Yeah, as I said, he made some valid points, some good points, but like I'm in my opinion, it lacked nuance, because there's a reason why a lot of the things are the way they are. You cannot say redlining didn't happen. You can't say that Jim Crow didn't happen. You can't say that 250 years of slavery didn't happen,
right,
and put us on a different path. And you can't sit up here and tell me that Chinese and Japanese get on like that, because they don't. So
just because they're Asian, that don't mean they get along.
Let's not talk like what's them cats in Aurora, Colorado, that's trying to run around and take over projects like Nino Brown and them from
Venezuela.
You know what I mean? Those cats, they banging it out with the Mexicans. So it's beef and all of that all around, man.
Irish and Scottish got problems with each other.
Let's not just, it's like you were saying, when they start pointing it out as just us and only us need to get everybody needs to and can do better. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. To go back to Mr. Tyrese Gibson, baby boy, Jody.
Mom. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Call for your mama.
He has some shit to say about Harris and Biden as well. So let me play this real quick for y'all, since he's the smart guy in the room right now.
President Biden and Kamala Harris signed an Asian hate crime bill, which makes it beyond illegal to ever purposely and maliciously do anything to anybody in the Asian community. And there was a spike in crimes and criminal behavior in and around COVID, allegedly and specifically motivated by Trump. And so everybody started treating Asians, beating them, killing them, shooting them, stabbing them, hurting them. And then he gets into the White House, skips over every black and brown Mexican and Latino that have been getting killed like flies, and he makes it a law. Asian hate crime bill is signed into law. So whether you're a police officer or a regular civilian, if you wake up on a Wednesday and say, he's Asian, a woman or a man, let's go do something bad to them, which God forbid would ever happen again. But it is a crime bill that was signed into law that protects Asians at all costs. Where is that same fucking law to be signed into law when it comes to black and brown people? Because what you're doing is, President Biden and Kamala Harris, what you're doing is you're saying that black and brown people will continue to be disposable. That's why we got to vote, and we got to make sure our voices are heard, Tyrese. And it matters when we speak up and speak truth to power. When we speak what's on our heart, we will be heard. But first, you got to have the courage to speak up. And that's why I love you, Tyrese. You speak your heart, and your heart will never fail you. President Biden and Kamala Harris.
So once again, let me just say, it's amazing to me when these dudes get on here and get smart and shit, right? we've talked since we've been doing this, so we've been talking about the branches of government and how it works and how this happens and that happens, right? What he said was factually correct. They signed the bill into law, but they did not make it. The bill had to be presented in Congress, and it had to be voted on, right? Even for it to get to be he's directing his energy at the wrong people. Again, you said it, he got a lot of shit on his dome personal wise. But again, man, when he just JD last week, you get out to jump out the window, you gone. Now, I don't know if Ben Crump didn't know that. Obviously, Ben Crump should know how government works, but he didn't want to just smash him in the head on his rant.
Yeah, and the thing is, like Don always says, fam, it's just a lack of civic knowledge. If you don't have any knowledge of civics, if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know about if you can't even name the branches of government and know about checks and balances, don't get on platforms hollering about they made this bill and then what about the blacks? What about the George, what was it, the anti-lynching bill? You know what I'm saying? He didn't mention that.
And who brought that? Who was a part of that bill?
That's the Biden administration. George Floyd anti-lynching bill. But no one brings that up at all because it's about black folks, because they don't do nothing for black folks. But it's just a lack of civics, a lack of doing your research. And sometimes the internet is too much. Some people don't deserve to be on the internet because you're putting out information, false information, people just running with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous.
I had the nerve to be mad about it, though. He was mad about it.
Yeah, he really was. And that's the thing about it. I remember before when they signed the gay rights bill into place, people were like, oh, let's make it legal being black. It's funny because constitutionally, we are Americans. We have the rights, the same rights, inalienable rights of all Americans. Constitutionally, specifically, it doesn't need to be a specific act and or bill. Now, when it comes to hate crimes, like you said, there's an anti-lynching bill that's out there. There are obviously the civil rights laws that are out there. So we have been integrated into society through the acts of legislation.
The John Lewis bill.
The John Lewis bill, exactly. Right. So there are plenty of things that have been signed into place since 1964 to continue to progress as a people. And legislatively, we actually should be concerned. We actually should be considered a part of the fabric of America. Obviously, there are situations where we aren't, but there are situations where we are completely and totally represented fairly. If you understand how civics works, like we always talk about, and that's why I put this up on Facebook. I was like, there's three branches of government. There's the executive, there's the legislative, and then there's the judicial branch. You know what I'm saying? So if you understand how those three work and they form in checks and balances, you will understand that it's not anyone's fault that a particular things happen. It's more, that's like how people say, oh, Kamala was a prosecutor. She did her job. And if you understand civics, you understand she wasn't lurking outside of people's houses, playing bugs, calling cops on people. She did what came in front of her. So I think that we just need to educate ourselves a lot more. We have to be more mindful. And people like that, unless you're properly educated and prepared, don't get political opinions.
Yeah, he's just emotional, B. He got a lot going on, man.
Emotional is the perfect word. That's the perfect word. And we all know emotions are the enemy of success.
Exactly.
As we go back to the suit and go back to VP Harris, your man's Plies, man. Let me just say, I've been following Plies for a while now. I probably started fucking with Plies like around the pandemic. He was on Twitter a lot, just saying some funny, real shit. You know what I'm saying? So he had his opinions, and he's always had his opinions on things out here moving and shaking. So he's unapologetically down with VP Harris and Walls, right? He's, yo, I'm telling you, I'm wearing it on my sleeve, and I'm telling you why. Y'all want her to sit down and have all these conversations and all this, but y'all don't hold Trump to no type of
none of that shit.
None of that. Let's Trump get out there and feed you a shit sandwich, and y'all say, man, that's the best shit sandwich I done had in my lifetime, man.
I need more mayonnaise.
And we ain't even seen his tax returns yet. Nothing.
Or he was supposed to be replacing Obamacare from when he was president. Where's that at? But let me just show this Plies clip real quick. And of course, we're going to add the turtle to the soup.
This dude.
But to everybody who, especially the ones who look like me, the men who look like me, who quit the, if Kamala want my vote, she need to explain herself to me what she gonna do for the black people. Listen, stop asking a black woman to explain themselves to you or explain themselves to y'all. If y'all ain't willing to ask a white man, this mother explain himself. Y'all cool with the white man not explaining his mother stuff to you. Go the mother. Like, she need to explain herself to me what she gonna do for the black community. She want my vote. She need to explain herself. You ain't motherfucking the white man explain himself. You too motherfucking ask him. Somebody need to explain something to y'all. Well, she been in the office already 3.5 years. Why she ain't do all the things she said she was gonna do? Cause she ain't the president. That's why.
Plies is absolutely positively wrong. If people are asking questions, that's great. I don't even know why Plies is making this a black woman versus black man thing. This isn't about black men and black women. It's about elected officials and potential voters. The whole point of campaign season is for candidates to go out there and explain to the American people why they should be the one in charge of this country. Votes are earned, not given. And they are earned through you going out there and explaining yourself. Vice President Kamala Harris has to go out there and explain her agenda and why she's the person for the job. Former President Donald Trump has to go out there and explain his agenda and why he should be the
but he don't
job again or get the job again. I don't understand Plies or any black person for that matter telling black people just settle. Just accept whatever the candidate is giving you. Don't ask any questions.
Yeah, but
just vote. They don't have to explain anything to us.
They've been doing it for a long time. Even with Biden, when we ask questions to Biden, it's the best of two evils. You know what I mean? You got to pick one. But no, if you have questions, people should be able to ask. That's the point of a politician, right? They're supposed to represent us, represent our district, represent our country. Shouldn't we ask?
And by the way, they should be explaining without us asking. That's the whole point of them doing these press conferences and these meetings.
Yeah.
The same way these politicians have meetings for their donors and they have rallies and press conferences explaining themselves and their agendas to certain groups, they should have to explain themselves to black people the same way. Plies is 1,000,000,000% wrong.
So we got Charlamagne saying that she needs to explain herself since she got to Patan, they've been campaigning and having rallies and different things. She just did her first sit down the other day when they asked her how did she feel about Donald Trump saying that she wasn't black. What you think, UH? What's your thoughts on Plies' comments and Charlamagne saying that he was 1,000% wrong?
It's the same thing, and this is what we continue to go over with people. It's basically the same thing. She can only do but so much if she's going to be elected to a national office. She cannot come out with a Black Panther 10-point program and be like, this is what I'm doing. Because guess what? She won't be elected to office. And the whole object, if you're running, is to what? Win.
To win the election.
I don't understand why these people make it so hard to understand basic demographics. Like we're only 13% of the country, and exclusively Black agenda is not going to win. And there are certain points within, even if you take things out and add things in, there are certain points like reparations, right? That are death wish to a campaign. You have to be very nuanced, and you also have to be very particular and careful about the way that you choose to garner the Black vote. Now, granted, there are people who are going to vote for her just because she is a person of color, which, considering who she's running against, of course, you should. But there are also people who are going to vote for her because she's a better person for the issue. She's a better person for democracy. There is no reason and or excuse for not voting for Kamala Harris this cycle. There really isn't. And I don't understand why this fool Charlamagne. And I was thinking the other day too, just a real quick sidebar. I was on the way home from traffic and I was like, our podcast is going well. What if Charlamagne calls us? Yeah, join the Black iHeart Podcast Network. Dude, we roast you every week, so don't expect anything to change. So that matters. That is what it is with us. If we see you're wrong, no matter who you are, if I'm wrong, if D's wrong, if Fro's wrong, guess what? We correct each other. It's a situation where this guy is basically giving people the option to choose dictatorship over democracy when his message should clearly be vote for Kamala Harris because Project 25 is going to end American democracy.
Exactly.
And with that, brothers, my brothers, I am out. I got to go to House in the Park, 20-year anniversary. I love y'all. I will see y'all next week. I know it's going to be dope. And I'll see y'all Wednesday at 4 for the rest of them.
So, yeah, man, I was just thinking as UA was giving us his thoughts on that, man. People got to realize as well, should she win, she can't just reparations. That just don't happen. It don't happen like that.
Yeah, you're right, Fro. And the thing is, she's very intelligent. I remember seeing her with an interview when she was saying, someone asked her, what are you going to do for Black people? You can't just cater to Black people because you're Black and you're the president. You're still the president of all people. But she said, I'm going to do something when it comes to diabetes, knowing that diabetes affects us greatly as a Black people, but it affects everyone. She's smart enough to be hopefully she will be the president of all Americans, but she knows what affects us and she'll make sure that it combines with the rest of Americans. So pretty much we get what we need and everyone else gets a portion of what they need also. It's politics. You know what I'm saying? This is how it works. I don't understand why people feel like she should explain when they don't have Trump explain. I don't think he has the ability to explain, to be honest with you, because he has his own agenda, his own rhetoric, and he's playing the same old songs for over and over again. He just including instead of having Biden in his notes, he just snatched it out and put VP Harris there, and he's saying the same shit over and over again.
So check this out, Lord. Last week, we missed you last week, man, but we understand the situations, man. Yeah. Our people out in the streets answering questions about supporting Trump. So I wanted to do the yang real quick, the yin and the yang. So I wanted to show the other side so you can see the ridiculousness of the other side and how they move. So let me show you this clip real quick and crazy.
What are your thoughts on how Joe Biden has handled the last 3 years?
Come on, man, they suck. He sucks. Plain and simple.
What's the worst thing that he's done? What's a bad thing that Joe Biden has done?
Where do I start, man? Really?
Yeah.
Come on, give me something, y'all.
He don't got nothing. Where do I start?
Come on, give me something. Bad that Joe's done.
So he in Redneckville, for real.
No, sir.
Why not?
Because it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Is it important to have a couple drinks before you hear Donald Trump speak?
It doesn't matter either way to us, but we love Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We love Donald Trump, and we think he got shitted out of the 2020 election.
What do you think happened in the 2020 election?
Did it?
I think there's one.
Yeah.
You're already drunk.
An attorney general found no evidence of widespread voter fraud. What do you think about that?
I don't know, but we feel like with.
I'm sorry, Lord.
He got shit.
What does that mean?
Face, B.
What does that mean? Excuse me, sir. Can you use that in this?
Use it in a sense.
The amount of votes he got, the most ever in an incumbent president. That he
drinking my drink though. He got that ultra. He got that ultra with him though.
One. I don't feel like Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Is that what he said? Yeah. And Obama, there's no doubt Obama had a movement.
Right.
For sure. Obama had a movement.
Yeah.
And I'm not denying he had a movement. But Donald Trump had a movement also. Joe Biden's not Obama.
I think a lot of Democrats were voting for Joe Biden because he wasn't Donald Trump. I think that was the movement. It was
81,
anti.
But not 81 million.
You don't think so?
No, sir. Absolutely not.
And how many beers have you had today?
3. Yeah.
3 beers? Yeah. 11:44 in the morning.
That's right.
Going in to see Donald Trump.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Tucker?
Yeah.
He's my hero. And then right under it says stop liberal intolerance.
If Vladimir Putin were running against Joe Biden.
Oh, gosh.
For our country? It's a hard question. Probably Putin.
It is?
Yeah, I don't think
Unbelievable.
Putin's bad as people want to
You would vote for Vladimir Putin?
I would. Over Biden? Hell yeah.
You would vote for Vladimir Putin for president of the United States?
Putin wants to go back to good morality. He doesn't allow all this crap about genders and pronouns and crap.
Do you think these views have to do with Tucker Carlson?
She said
Vladimir Putin?
And crap.
No, I say we need to get out of the Ukraine Russia thing. Let them work it out.
So you would vote for Vladimir Putin?
But you would vote for Putin, though.
I would. I'd rather have
Putin's in the Ukraine.
Corrupt Biden.
Dummy.
There you have it.
What does the shirt say?
Trader Joe's, everything's for sale.
And what does that mean?
It means we got a worthless president and don't care about the people. He's wanting money.
Yeah. In what respect?
Just shady business dealings that he's had to do with the son, and he sniffs kids. There's a whole lot of problems that we can talk about.
Are you talking about his son-in-law getting the $2 billion deal from Saudi Arabia?
That Hunter, all the stuff with Burisma and things like that.
Is that shady to work in office and make a deal with Saudi Arabia for $2 billion?
If Biden's name's attached to it, I'm pretty sure it's shady.
Okay, but no, that's Jared Kushner. That's Trump's son-in-law.
That may be. I don't know. I'm not real up on that, but
You're not up on it now, huh?
Listen, Lord, I gotta admit, I was ticked off last week when I saw the brothers and the sisters out there saying they was gonna ride with Trump and the reasons why and all that stupidity
for the 1,200.
But that shit there, that shit is scary, yo. That's the type of shit that had you in the Capitol on January 6th running around talking about some bullshit.
Trying to lynch folks.
Yeah.
But Trump will tell you, fam, he'll tell you. I love the poorly educated. And that's what you just saw, poorly educated. And when you ask them something that makes sense, they go, well, I don't know nothing about that. And then they tell you not to vote for Kamala because, identity politics, because she's black and you're black, you shouldn't vote for her. But how many people are voting for Trump just because he's white and they're white? No one says anything about that.
Exactly.
Come
that's
on,
a
man.
point. That's a hell of a point there, Lord. Man, that's a motherfucking ding right there. You know what I mean? For that white lady to sit up there and say that she would vote for Putin instead of Biden. What the hell has Joe Biden done to you, lady, to make you feel this way?
She just loved Trump.
Jesus Christ, man. Like I said, that shit there is fucking.
And Biden was the vice president to a black man too. That's another area why they don't like him, man. It's just divisive and it's racist and it's white supremacy. They can't say it because they got the mic in their face, but that's what they really want to say, man. He white, I'm white. Let's keep it all white if we can.
And that's why they say they like she was saying too many pronouns and shit like that. Like Russia is like one of the last countries that's basically all European.
That's how they want it.
Exactly. European and straight. That's the reason why them motherfucking billies is all on their jock.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Speaking of the diversion, a person that's out here, man, and you wonder why, and he's been in the soup before as well. And I'm talking about Mr. Glass.
What do we call you?
Has made another appearance in the soup. Let me show you this real quick. So here it is. Boom.
Here we go.
On the ballot and Georgia. If all motherfucking places that he could be on the ballot at, they're gonna make sure he on the ballot in Georgia, not New York State, not Massachusetts, not somewhere. Let's see here, Texas, somewhere like North Dakota, somewhere like that. But they're gonna put him on the ballot. They're gonna get him on the ballot in Georgia. Lord, would you look at this, man? What the hell, man?
I don't understand what his issue is. What is his issue? What is it? He understands that what he does is going to ruin it for Harris. He actually takes, I think, a guy named Harlan Crow, I think it is.
Yes.
Who's he's taking money from Republican donors. Right.
You know whose man that is, right?
Who that?
That's Clance's man, Harlan.
So you're taking money from Republican donors. So it's quite evident, it's obvious that you're not going to win on your own. It's not going to happen. So you're splitting the vote, and it's going to go to Trump. So what are you looking to do? You're looking forward to Project 2025? Are you looking forward to a dictatorship? You know what I'm saying? Is it your villainous mind? You know what I'm saying? That's taken over? Who cuts your hair? Why are you always wearing the same clothes? You are scary to me, dude. What is wrong with you? You are a genius for the wrong reasons. You're killing me here with this, man. You're stabbing us in the back with this. There's no reason for him to do the things he's doing, man. And it has nothing to do with, as a black man, we trying to keep him down from running. No, you're ruining what could be democracy or a dictatorship. Why? I don't understand why.
We all know why. He somehow, some way, he getting some capital. I know what. I know it ain't about this.
Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
But it's not about peace and Pan-Africanism. What Cornel is out here doing, man. And like I said, man, it's the states that he in. I also seen that he's in the ballot. He's on the ballot in Wisconsin. So this fool is on the ballot in Wisconsin and Georgia, right? Which is, we know for sure Georgia is a battleground.
It could be blue as purple, yeah.
And like you said, those percentage points that he's gonna fragment off to some of us who running around saying we ain't a monolith, and Kamala Harris locked up my second cousin, uncle twin, out in California.
Hate little motherfuckers like you. Little niggas, you ain't shit.
Really shit like that. I'm voting for Cornel. I'm with Mr. Glass. I want to be a part of the Legion of Doom too. You know what I'm saying? What the hell?
Like you said, that money is powerful, fam. And whatever he's getting, he's choosing individuality over community. And some of us are like that. And it's horrible. But then again, democracy, dictatorship. But as long as I'm paid, I don't care if it's a dictatorship because I got bread.
I'm good. I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep well on my money. Right. Speaking of monies and doing things for money, it's a guy that was real tight. I don't know how cool they are still to this day, but at one time, you would see one of them, and you would see Mr. Glass, and you would see this individual not too far away from him. And this individual I'm speaking of is Tavis Smiley. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember Tavis hating Obama Smiley, of course.
Right. You remember Tavis and Cornel was like this.
They was trying to jump Obama when they saw him at the store one day.
He was out in front of the store in Nebraska eating a banana.
Come on, man. Come on.
Might have to drop a dime on them niggas.
I'm gonna drop a dime on that.
To the deli, man. You know what I mean? Come out the store.
I'm gonna have to drop a dime. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I tell you, my TL is crazy. Motherfucking Tavis Smiley pops up on my TL, yo. But you're not gonna believe. I'm gonna give you 2 guesses, Lord. Please like, share, subscribe, comment down low. We need some more subscribers, man. Y'all jump in on the soup, man. We cooking. So I'm gonna give you 2 guesses on what platform Tavis popped up on, man.
Travis Smiley.
Yeah.
I gotta go BET. I gotta go BET first.
You ain't never
No.
going to guess, but no, that's not it.
Yeah,
That's
he wasn't on Fox, was he?
No, you weren't on Fox neither, but close.
Hold on. You gave me my two. What is it? What was it on?
He was on VLAD.
Come on, he wasn't on Vlad. What are you doing on Vlad?
He was on VLAD. Let me give it to you real quick.
He lacking attention, B. He on Vlad.
Let me give it to you real quick, Lord. VLAD, he popped up on VLAD.
Gets invited to the RNC, stands up and delivers what some would call a very powerful speech. What's happening? Are we watching a change in real time?
I think we're just watching a spectacle. That's all it is. I wouldn't put much more on it than that. It's spectacle. Black people, as we well know, are not a monolith. We don't all agree on the same things, on the same issues. We don't see things the same way. We don't view the world through the same prism. And yet there are always those who are contrarian, to put it generously, to be charitable about it. I'll just call them contrarians. Let me just say this, and this I hope will make the point. I remember how heartbroken I was in college, frankly, near the end of my college career, when I was taking a couple of African-American studies courses. And one of my professors, Dr. Fred McElroy, and Dr. William Wiggins, two of my professors, Dr. William Wiggins, Dr. Fred McElroy at Indiana University in Bloomington. I was taking a couple of their classes, and I had to come to terms, Prez, with the knowledge that I was being exposed to, that there were Africans who sold other Africans into slavery.
Yes.
I could not wrap my brain. I had seen Roots as a kid growing up, but I could not wrap my brain around the fact that Africans would sell other Africans into slavery.
Before we let him continue on, we also have to realize that it was Jews that financed Hitler. So as we continue on.
It took me a long time to just process my way through that. I remember vividly how it made me feel. I was upset. I was disturbed for days behind that, because I just had never processed it in that way. And my professors were getting me to wrestle with that on a number of different fronts in a variety of ways. I bring it full circle to make the point that you and I are discussing now. There are always going to be those who will say the most outrageous things, sell their souls, a bunch of black Judases, if you will, for those who are Christians and for those who know all about that story. Judas betrayed him. Peter denied him. I tell folk all the time that Jesus had 12 disciples. Here's how I run my company. Here's how I run my life. Jesus here. My point is, if you ever get 12 Negroes around you, 3 or 4 of them ain't no good. Just to start with that.
Wow.
If Jesus handpicked his own disciples and 3 or 4 or 5 of them wasn't no good, then your numbers can't be better than Jesus. So I figure if I got 12 Negroes around me, I start looking at 5 of them. I know 4 or 5 of them ain't ride or die. And so my point is that you think of all the black folk in this country, it ought not to surprise us that there are some folk, like the ones on the list you read a moment ago, who gonna try to sell the rest of us out, who just don't see it the way we see it. And on that point, again, I digress.
Tavis Smiley on VLAD speaking, it cut deep. It makes sense on what he said, right? He talked about Jesus had 12. Out of those 12, 2 for sure.
Yeah. The point, what's the point though, fam? I understand what he said, that you got 12 and 4 of them aren't good, but he had to mention that 4 black people, if you got 12 blacks, 4 of them aren't good. What's the point of going on someone's show like Vlad, obviously, who is Jewish, and say something bad about anybody that's black, from the first off, even though I do understand his point. But you have to understand the platform that you're on and the things that you're saying on that platform. Vlad don't give a fuck about you. He'd love to hear some negative shit about black people. And here you go, you've given it to him. Now, when it comes down to the actual selling of Africans to Africans, we all know that was more tribal than it was thinking that they were going to go into channel slavery. When black people had black people as slaves, they weren't actually slaves. They were more of a servant because you done did some bullshit, and now you have to serve in this particular role as in for your punishment. It wasn't like channel slavery where we're going to take away your dignity, rape your women, and things of that nature. Why would he even mention that? Because he wants to be on the side of the platform he's on, because is he looking for attention? That's what always comes down to me, is there's some money involved in it some kind of way for him. How much did Vlad pay him to be on the show? Is Tavis struggling? What's going on with Tavis? I haven't heard from Tavis since when, fam?
Good question.
Man, and all of a sudden you on VLAD? Come on, man. Come on, man. What's the purpose, man?
So,
and for somebody to have an intellect like that and go on the show and spew the things that you spew, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's eye-opening, man. And what this episode is, I wanted to bring in everything where people are and what they thinking about. Charlamagne speaking to Plies about just not falling in line. And Plies ain't out here falling in line. Like I said earlier, Herman Cain, rest in peace. He ain't just falling in line following Byron Donalds. He just ain't just following Kamala Harris because she's black. If she was out here on some bullshit, or if she was really what everybody else says she is, that would be something different. Whereas everybody seemed to not see none of this shit Trump did or has done. We didn't even mention your boy, the DA that brought the charges back up in a different way.
Right.
On Trump for the Jan 6 shit. And, and not giving the documents back. So it's funny. And the
thing is with Plies is he can reach certain people because of who he is and how he talks. It's easy to understand. You know what I'm saying? You gonna vote for the KKK or AKA? You know what I'm saying? So that's simple. Easy to understand. It's simple. 34 felonies or a former prosecutor. It's really simple. And he puts it in the simple terms, but you would think some of these people who are I'm for Trump would listen to Plies, because Plies he's a down to earth dude. He's one of us.
For the people in the back, as I like to coin it. He for the people in the back. You know what I mean? That ain't getting it straight from the mouth. It's crazy, man. And we're gonna stay with our eyes on this election because it's really super important, man. Super important what's gonna come down within these next less than 90 days. Shit, we damn near 2 months away is what we are.
Countdown.
Again, man, P, it's good to have you back, man, on the show, man. You got anything you want to say to the people, man, before we
wrap
wrap
it up? I've been through a lot, and through these last couple of weeks, man, through these last few years, man, and I just want to say I appreciate you for always having my back. Whenever I need somebody to talk to, I know I got you. But for the people out there, there's 3 things you need to do in life, man, and it's real simple. Wake up, pray, and hustle. Repeat. You know what I'm saying? Be thankful that you're here. Be thankful that you have the ability to go out and get yours. And just stay prayed up, man, because everyone's not promised tomorrow. Tell your people you love them too. You know what I'm saying? All your family. Let them know how you feel, because tomorrow's not promised to you.
Those is words from P, man, and that's real, man. Yeah. And as always, man, this is the same old soup. We just reheating it, man. And until next Sunday, man, peace and love. Stay safe. One.
Peace.